Hi, my name is Annamieka Hops, and this is the Art Friends Show, where every conversation focuses on getting to know the essence of creativity itself. I'd love to invite you as well to join me inside of Art Friends School, where we go deeper into these topics and join in with other art friends around the world. Thanks so much for joining us, and let's get to the show. Welcome to the Art Friends Show. Here's an artist you're gonna wanna know. Hey, my name is Annamieka, and I'm an artist in Portland, Oregon. This is a series of daily Art Friend interviews. I'm doing 100 days going live and workshopping this concept of the Art Friend Show, where we get to make friends with our creativity and each other. Our guest today is an artist named Ruth Armitage, and I'm going to invite her on right now. There you are.
Hello.
Hi, Ruth. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Great. For everyone who has not yet met you, will you please tell us where you live, what kind of art mediums you like to create with, and we'll go from there.
Well, I just recently moved back to Oregon from Vancouver. I live in West Lynn, and I'm a painter. I work in acrylic, oil, and watercolor. Started out in watercolor, and that's my first love. And kind of, yeah.
We're going to talk about that today, your watercolor love. Yeah. Cool. So we're kind of neighbors. I live in Selwood, so we're in the south.
Just across the river.
Yeah, the south part of Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
And so as a painter, you work in watercolors, oils, and acrylics. Mm-hmm. And you were just telling me about something really exciting that has to do with your watercolors and your tenacity. Can you tell us about that, please?
Well, I'm going to be a part of a show in New York in April. It's the American Watercolor Society show. And it's a big deal because people enter from all over the world, and they have probably 2,500 entries for 175 spots. And I was in about 6 years ago. I got into the show, and I've been trying ever since to get back in, and I finally cracked that nut this year. And then I was so excited, and I was planning to go over there with my daughter and attend the opening at the end of April. And then I found out that I got the 3rd place award.
Wow.
Is
out of 175?
Yeah. That's astounding.
That's so exciting.
And just before I found this out, I was looking because people were announcing, that they had gotten awards or they were in the show, and I was looking at it. How you're happy for them, but you have this little wistful thing like, will I ever get there? Will I ever make it? And it actually happened. I was like, I had been checking the wrong email. I had been checking my my spam email, thinking that it would have been forwarded to it, but it wasn't. It was in my website email.
That's
the announcement.
That's so wild. So, and also, like, for context, for 5 or 6 years before this, you didn't get into the show at all, right?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Never.
So,
and in fact, the first time I got in the show, I got in with a piece that I had submitted the year before and was rejected with.
Mm-hmm.
So a different set of judges.
Yes.
Art is subjective. And I think for me, it just shows you that you have to believe in yourself. You can't look for external validation. You just have to believe in your own heart that the work is good. Yes. Or that it's your best. I mean, it doesn't even have to qualify as what we think of as good. It could just be the best you're doing right now.
Totally. Yeah, we have integrity to ourselves. Have you ever sat in on a jury, Ruth?
I've actually been a juror.
You've been a juror.
Yeah, and I'm actually jurying the National Watercolor Society this summer. Mm-hmm. So that's in LA.
Yeah.
And
does that, how does that, having been, so actually, I'm just going to back up just a bit because I feel like the niche I'm in is
kind of bridging worlds, right? I came up in the more traditional fine art world where there's academia, there are juried shows, there are national societies like this, there are, residencies. So it's more kind of these wonderful institutions that kind of give opportunities to artists.
Absolutely.
From before the internet.
Right.
And then I'm now, the last 10 years, I've been really active in this community which is also, you're in that bridge as well. We're self-represented artists. We've been using the tools of the internet to build global art brands.
Yeah.
We kind of bridge commercial and fine art work with like licensing partnerships as well as originals. And so for people who may not know, like a juried show is when you submit images of your work, and then there's a committee that, gauges what can go into the show based on like
there's limited space.
Yeah. And I think that that's a really big like accomplishment for especially a lot of artists who have never been juried into something that can feel
scary. It's scary to put yourself out there that way, and it can be expensive if you have to send your work to the show. Some of them are just online, so that's nice because the expense isn't as high.
Right. I'm curious, like, in addition to just feeling amazing to get third place and celebrate that and get to go to the show, what does it cause for you in your art practice, in your sense of community among watercolor artists? Like, what kind of things come from being able to participate in the national, is it international? American?
It's international.
Yeah.
It's people from China, Malaysia, India, Mexico, Hong Kong, all over the place.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I think it's more exposure for teaching. Because that's one of my goals is to teach more outside of my local area.
Okay, cool.
And so that gives you the name recognition a little bit more.
Yeah.
But on the other side of the coin, on the creative side, I guess for me, it tells me that my work that I'm not deluding myself.
Yeah.
That I'm not putting work out there that only I think is beautiful. And it gives you that confidence and motivation to keep creating.
Yeah.
Yeah. It gives you that validation, external validation. And I try not to get too big ahead. I mean, people will hang stuff on their wall from Walmart, but these judges are people that I respect, people that have been in the business for a long, long time, that have taught a lot, that are good painters, they know good art, that
watercolor is so like stressful to me because of the commitment of, if you're painting in a traditional style with transparent watercolors, your source of white is the white of the page, like in a really traditional application. And so like
I should say that the painting that I entered in this show is actually acrylic, and they do take acrylic as well.
Oh, okay.
So
cool.
Anything water-based.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
It has to be on paper, but. So.
Oh, that's neat. Okay, cool. Let's talk a bit about your upcoming, like, teaching in Italy. We have the Sitka Center connection.
Yeah,
Tell us
that's
about
how we met, right?
Yeah.
Sitka Center is here on the Oregon coast. I'll be teaching there in June, I believe, and it's a 3-day class on texture. So one of my favorite passions. And then I'll teach in the summertime at Manuka in the Columbia River Gorge.
Oh, yeah.
A group called Creative Arts Community. And that's a week-long open studio. So you bring whatever you want to work on, oil, acrylic, watercolor, your own projects. And then I kind of give you the warm-ups and help you out with critiques and technique demonstrations and that sort of thing.
That's cool.
And then the culmination of my teaching year will be in Italy in October. I'm doing a week-long class, and I was invited to teach at a school called La Romita School of Arts. It's housed in a decommissioned monastery in Terni, which is about an hour and a half north of Rome. And they've been hosting art classes and retreats for over 50 years. So a couple of my students, I think that may be why they invited me, is that maybe one of my students recommended me or something.
So cool.
So yeah, I'll be really excited. I've never been to Italy, so really excited to do that.
Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
So cool.
We'll be focusing on simplifying the Italian landscape. So we'll work with watercolor with the addition of high flow acrylic white. So you don't have to save your whites.
Yeah, I like that.
And also some little bits of collage and that kind of thing. So because my work is pretty abstract, I kind of bridge. When you started talking about bridging two worlds, I thought maybe you were talking about the difference between realism and abstraction.
Well, let's talk about that. Yeah, absolutely.
Because I've been in all of those different areas. Like I started out very realistic still lives, and then I kind of moved towards semi-abstracted figure painting, and my paintings were lots of figures. And now they're more non-objective. You can't really always see what I'm painting. Although the painting, for instance, that's in the show in New York is called By Moonlight. And so I think my title, I start with a title always, an idea, a very concrete idea.
Yeah.
So, you know, I wanted to paint a nocturne, something that's set at night with strong contrast, dark and light. And so I had all these ideas, but my application was really spontaneous, really just fooling around.
Can we see some? Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm eager to have people see some of your work as well. And I'm thinking of the piece you have for close-up. Maybe.
Yeah. So this is a piece that I'm working on right now. It's kind of my first warm-up in the new studio. I moved in December, and so I have been kind of just getting organized. And oftentimes if you've been off of painting for a little while, it's hard to get back into it. So this piece I started with just a scrap of bad painting that I was going to paint over it. You know, I just never liked it. So I just started painting over it with white and went.
Wow. And then layering all of this intricate,
all the little marks.
And talk about texture. That's visual texture, repetition, different mark making. It's so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Can we see the painting behind your head?
Oh, sure. Do you want me to go closer to it?
Sure. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I can get this thing on. Okay. Can you still see me?
Yes.
Okay. So this is transparent watercolor.
Oh my goodness. I love the value contrast, the way that you have some saturated colors and a lot of neutral. Gorgeous. And you're letting the paint move with the water.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think I kind of chimed in on one of your lives recently when you guys were talking about drippies. I was like, oh, that's one of my favorite parts of watercolor.
Anyone listening, one of the artist interviews with she's at Pittix. She wanted to figure out how to make drips with watercolor that carried more pigment with them. And so thank you, Ruth, for being a teacher right there in that moment in the community.
No problem.
I think something that makes us teachers is we enjoy figuring things out with people.
Oh yeah.
That way.
I was a science major for the first 2 years of university.
Oh really?
And yeah, I think that really helped me be a better painter, because I just look at things as an experiment. Like, what if I try this? What if I try that? And
totally.
It really removes or relieves some of the pressure you might feel when you start something new. Like this piece I just showed you the close-up of. just saying, okay, this is a piece of throwaway paper. I'm not going to ever do anything with it. I've already ruined it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so psychologically you're free.
Yeah. And I think that people imagine that once you're at a level where you're entering shows or in galleries or any of those things, I think they imagine that you don't have throwaway paintings. Well, you do. You do.
Stacks and stacks. I think of it as, you know, I played violin and piano growing up, and we would practice and practice and practice, but those sessions don't stack up. But as visual artists, we get really confronted with our practicing, and a lot of our work, really all of it, is a practice to some extent, but we also have to be willing to discard some of it or paint over it.
Kind of winnow out. I have someone that I follow who calls it the axe man. The axe man comes in after all the work is done and says,
yeah,
you're out of here.
That's amazing.
Only the best survive.
Yeah. I have a show coming up in April that's a kind of a large space, and it's just me. And
congratulations.
Work, like, I love you, babies, but
we're gonna need to make some bigger stuff.
Yeah. And also, like, a lot of these feel like they might get the axe. So it's that sort of tension between, you know, knowing we can deliver on an assignment, on a commission, on whatever, and being willing to have integrity to our work and be like, this one doesn't make the cut. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So it's kind of this.
Yeah, you have to be able to work toward a deadline without saying everything is going to go towards this.
Yeah, like you can't, right? I try to guide myself and my clients that, you know, we're going to make 20 paintings, and, you know, perhaps 8 or 9 or 10 of them are going to work out, but they're going to all teach us how to do it.
Right.
And
you have to look at those paintings that don't work out as an investment rather than a failure. I mean, that to me,
our ego doesn't like to do that, but like they're just practicing our scale.
Well, I mean, if you were a salesperson and you're going to call on clients, you expect a certain number of no's. You just expect it. That's part of the whole package you get.
Yeah, I mean, look at you. You apply for a year, you apply the next year, your piece gets in. You apply for 6 years, don't get in at all, and now you're 3rd in the nation. Like, you know,
in that show.
In that show. Yeah, but I think, like, that's where being an artist takes a lot of, you know, like you said, your word was so brilliant, tenacity. It takes tenacity, and I think that what we can do as community is normalize that part of the process.
And resilience. I mean, I think it's normal if you're putting yourself into your work to feel hurt or sad when you are rejected. I think it's normal.
Yeah.
But to be able to recover from that and just say, well, I still like it.
And to be like, all right, and we're going to keep working, you know, we're just going to keep going. And I think of that with grant applications. You know, I feel like every grant I've ever received, I've earned by the other 10 between that I didn't get. With client, even with submissions, any of it, it's all just remembering we got to put ourselves out there.
Absolutely.
So one thing that you and I have in common is we like to prank people.
Absolutely.
April Fool's is coming up, so anyone listening, maybe they can get some ideas, or they can DM us with really good ideas. I always love.
We're opening a can of worms.
Well, but like, I like good prank inspiration. You know,
I do too.
On it. So tell me about a prank you have pulled in the past, if you're willing.
Okay. Well, I mean, I come from a family that did pranks on each other, and my mom would tell these wild tales of April Fool's Day in North Dakota, where she grew up, like tipping over the outhouse.
Oh, yeah. Ew.
Putting filters in the pancakes so you couldn't cut the pancakes. Those sort of things.
Yeah.
And she just had a wonderful sense of humor. And so one of the things I did was shortly after my twins were born. They were born in March 24th. And on April 1st, I called and told her that I was pregnant again. I already had 3 under 3.
What?
And I told her,
Oh, what did you do?
I told her I was pregnant again, and she was so excited. She was overjoyed, and I'm like, think about this, Mom. I gave birth 2 weeks ago or a
How
week
would
ago.
that be possible?
That was pretty funny. She felt embarrassed, but she was
wanted to be happy for you, right? Oh, oh my God.
And then I have a friend who is part Japanese, and she has, you know, just an affinity for all things Japan. And I also know about her that she is slightly competitive. And so one year on April Fool's, I called her and told her that I had been invited to teach a workshop in Japan. By this woman who actually I do know from Japan, and she knows her. And so it wasn't beyond the realm of possibility, but it was pretty far-fetched. And I knew it would just push her buttons, and she was livid.
Oh.
She couldn't even speak. She was so mad. And I get her every year.
Found out it was a prank, or
she was mad before she found out it was a prank. She was so jealous.
Oh. I appreciate you like acknowledging jealousy in poking fun lovingly at your friend in your own kind of like
normal.
You know,
I mean,
it is normal, and it points towards what we want.
Yeah.
It's like ego, jealousy, rejection, all
you have to have some sort of ego to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
You know, you have to have some self-confidence. So anyway, it was a fun one. I get her every year, and she knows it's coming, and we talk about it, and then she still falls.
Still get her?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
I know. Too much fun.
That. Okay, I'm gonna have to think about.
Have you got any good ones? Do you have any that you've pulled?
I had so much fun recently. Okay. Actually, there's one that some people know about. Do you know Jennifer Mercedes?
I know her work.
She lives here in Portland. And we have a mutual friend whose name is Carrie Schmidt, who's also a painter who lives in Washington State. And Carrie Schmidt, a few years back, was teaching a retreat here in Portland. And she's like, you know, hey friends, you know, stop by for the Saturday night part of it or whatever. Yeah. And we're like, okay. But on Saturday, earlier in the day, Jennifer shows up. I think Jennifer and I were both actually doing a show that day, and we both had booths at it. So as soon as it was done, we go out to her car, and she has a trunk full of all sorts of floral, because Carrie Schmidt paints flowers.
Okay. So all the props.
Yeah. So she has everything floral. I think we had kind of workshopped this idea, but she came through. She had textiles, dresses, headscarves, the whole bit.
Fun.
My dog might bark because the mail is getting delivered. So just
anyway,
so we drive over to her workshop, which is where Flora Bull used to have her studio. She was renting it out. And we disguised ourselves head to toe, unrecognizable, total, just lost in floral. And then we snuck around the back to just the windows of the studio, and we just started making a racket and doing a parachute dance. And everybody started looking through the windows what is that? It was so fun, and they didn't know who we were because you really couldn't see. But anyway, they ended up inviting us in and playing some music, and we did kind of a strip tease for all her students. And I don't know. It was
that sounds like a riot. I love it.
Carrie was a very good sport about it, and Jennifer and I think, might have had more fun than anyone else. Yeah.
But that's fabulous.
The other day, so my neighbor pranks me a lot. I'm pretty trusting, so I'll just realize in the moment she just totally pulled one over, in normal chat.
Yeah.
And so she went out of town, and it was her birthday. And I'm not going to name any names, but I will say that some other neighbors and I collaborated, and on her birthday, we staged a party at her dining room table with all wearing costumes, and we sent her a little photo.
Oh my gosh.
And then we did, this was really fun. And she was okay with it. But we we took some of the neighborhood kids like and did a pillow fight on her bed, and then I printed them out and swapped them out for her framed artwork.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
And like, you know, some people are like, you know, taking sauces out of her fridge, and we took that photo and then put it on her fridge. I swapped out some of her artwork with silly prank photos, and it brought me a lot of joy, and she was really touched, and it was fun to get like a bunch of other friends in on it. It was kind of an elaborate prank though, man. That took a lot of time, and it was so worth it. I
have one similar to this.
Okay.
We have a college friend who built a home, and he was single, and he didn't have a lot of the kitchenware and stuff like that. So I decided to host a surprise housewarming on April Fool's Day. So I enlisted my husband's help, and he kept him busy. While I had his garage door code. So I got into his house and let all the guests in, and when he came home with my husband to drop off a car, we were all standing in the garage. So he opened the garage door, and all our feet were in the garage. You could just see us all. And we had all brought housewarming gifts, and in the gift we had to write the thank you note. Dear Ruth, thank you for the clock. It's the best clock I've ever received, and you are the best person in the whole world. I will never be late again. Or we just wrote and then all he had to do was sign his name and put it in the mail.
That's a gift.
It was
too
so funny.
Wait, so you had to pre-write their thank you note?
Yeah.
That just
with the gift. Wouldn't that be funny?
That's actually kind of a nice service, because it at least facilitates that very classy. Wow. Oh, surprise parties are such an act of love.
It was really fun. So much fun, and totally unexpected. No reason really, you know, just out of the blue.
Oh,
but it was April Fool's Day.
On April Fool's. That's amazing. Okay. I think another one I saw, I think the local ad agency, Wyden and Kennedy, a bunch of them that I follow posted in their stories that Snoop Dogg was doing an exclusive concert. I think that might have been more widespread, but I totally believed it for like 2 hours before I realized, oh, it's April Fool's Day.
Okay, I'll tell you the one that got me, that I was the most gullible. I was in high school. And I grew up between Albany and Corvallis, in the valley down south of Portland, quite a ways. And really, we didn't ever come up here, but for some reason I was I think we were on a field trip or something. And we drove by, this is when they were first building the LDS temple right at 217 and I-5. And I was like, what's that? And my friend said, oh, they moved the state capitol. Did you not hear? They're building a new state capitol.
Can you believe her? You're like this country bumpkin from Southern down the I-5 corridor. I probably would have believed him too. Like
in high school, I mean, I'd never heard of. I don't think I even knew that LDS folks built temples, you know. But it's this grand, giant building with a gold man on top, and our state capitol has a gold man on top. So it made sense to me.
I still remember it, probably because it was embarrassing once you figured out, like, you know, how we get those core memories.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's so sweet. Oh, this is really fun. I'm thinking of so many more, realizing that, you know, the family, I grew up in a family of pranksters, basically. I remember on my older brother was gone for a year. He bought one of those around the world tickets right after graduating college. He's amazing. And it must have been maybe my 18th birthday or something, and he wasn't supposed to be back yet. Well, now I'm ruining the surprise, but essentially my mom wrote a series of rhyming like treasure hunt clues, and I was having a birthday party at her house, and it ended with me walking into a room and my brother popped out of a giant box. Like,
my God.
I had no idea he was even back in the United States.
That's so
and we're really close. And of course, at the time he was like a film and documentary major, so he had also made a documentary on his travels.
Uh-huh.
And so I walked in and I saw a camera. This was before we all had smartphones or anything. I'm you know,
Big video camera.
what? Ah! I love that type of, you know, fun.
Yeah.
And,
It's
element.
joyful.
Surprise. I wonder how we could like get that more in our artwork or how we show up on Instagram.
I loved that
Yeah.
trend for a while of flash mobs. Wasn't
Yes.
that so fun?
That was fun. I like flash mobs. I can dance, but like not that.
You're good.
My
What are you
dream,
talking about?
for this art friend show, I would love if, you know, we have to dream really big, but also like not delude ourselves and keep making progress.
Right.
But my biggest dream would be for somehow to be able to collaborate with a real production team and real comedy writers.
Okay, so I was going to tell you this.
Yeah.
I was talking to the same friend that I prank every year
Yeah.
this morning, and she said that the publisher of Where Women Create is starting a new endeavor
Really?
where they do people live or
What?
you got to check it out.
I've got to talk to them.
Yeah.
What's their name? What's their handle? What's their whatever?
I'll get more information. I don't know.
Yes.
Love
Love that.
She's been featured in Where Women Create before, and so she's got a contact there. But
cool.
yeah.
I love, like, I want to go into people's studios and just love them up, and then it like cuts to a skit that's like hilarious about the creative process.
Yeah, I love that.
You've got confidence. I think I can see it all. I watch a lot of Saturday Night Live and stand up.
Sure.
But it's like, wouldn't that be so fun? We would have our own like niche show to binge watch. Because they do that with like home decor. They do that with all sorts of things.
Well, they've done it in Europe too, right? Have you seen that one where people are trying to be the next Rembrandt or something in Holland or?
Yeah. I you know what? Maybe also I could study the genre and see more of what's out there, because I actually don't watch that much TV.
I don't either.
But I wonder like what's unique about that. Like, you know, we're in a niche. We're in a niche of self-represented art brands that are like really welcoming and not actually playing into our inherent competitiveness. Let's own that we are, of course, human and competitive.
Surpassing elitism, really, you know, getting beyond that.
Yeah. So it's probably going to become a YouTube channel at, you know, its next.
That's good.
Yeah, but it'd be really fun if it's like actually got a production team and a budget and real writers and real actors.
Oh yeah, it'd be awesome. You can do it. You're going to do it.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming in and sharing about your art.
Oh, thanks for having me. This is such a great idea, and I admire you so much for your tenacity and your consistency and all of that. So congratulations.
Thanks, Ruth. And just a reminder to people, go to Italy with Ruth.
Yeah, all the information's on my website, rutharmitage.com, and there's in my bio.
Yeah, okay, great. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to post this, and then I'll follow up with you just to debrief. And everyone else, thanks for watching. Comment below with like your favorite prank, or maybe one prank.
We'll get some good ideas.
Or send us in the DMs the funny videos you see. I love that. And we'll see you on the next Art Friend interview tomorrow. Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Bye.
Thanks, Mika. Bye-bye.
I'd love to have you inside of Art Friend School, where we go deeper into these topics. Follow the link that's in the show notes or find it on my website at annamieka.com.